Good morning. It is 6:50 a.m. on Wednesday, May the 4th, 2022. May the 4th be with you. I'm Christiana Ellis and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. A little tired this morning. Trying to get up a little early. I'm going into the office today and just commensurate from with my when I went to bed. I'm sleepy. But that's how it goes. I'm feeling fine. I'm recovered from whatever it was. And, we had a good session of Dungeons and Dragons last night. Pretty dungeon crawly, but that's how it goes sometimes. Um, and of course, May the 4th, I made the joke, but the idea is that it's Star Wars Day. And, on Star Wars Day, I just have to reflect that I am perhaps more now into Star Wars than really. I don't know. I was pretty into Star Wars back when I had a whole bunch of the toys as a little kid. But even then, I don't know. I think just the amount of time I spend thinking about it, probably more into Star Wars than I've ever been. And there's a couple of reasons for that. And some of these I've talked about before. One is that I'm doing a rewatch of the Star Wars Clone Wars TV show in conjunction with listening to a podcast called A More Civilized Age, where a new episode of that just came out, and I'm excited. I'm recording this video instead of listening to it right now. I clearly made an error somewhere. Where, and so doing that, and then of course, Lego Star Wars I'm playing right now, and then just, I have it on the brain. And I think I talked about this already couple weeks ago, I think, when I rewatched episode 9, Rise of Skywalker, where I've come to a little bit of a new place with Star Wars, and so episode 9 required some readjustments because, as I talked about then, I think Rise of Skywalker is pretty disappointing, and it's disappointing not even just in the sense that I had hoped for better, but also in the sense that it really squanders some potential that had been built up and really kind of sent it all into, like, think how much momentum it seemed like there was when that came out. Versus now, I mean, they're obviously still doing stuff, but it's all focused on the TV show now. And I guess they announced a video game of it again, which is a little bit like there's been 3 different video games that they announced and then never came out. But whatever. But, so with The Mandalorian now and Book of Boba Fett, I think Book of Boba Fett wasn't necessarily the best, but Mandalorian's pretty good. And now there's going to be an Obi-Wan TV show, which is basically the only TV show that I'm interested in at all about that time period still. Just because I feel like that time period has been extremely explored. And I'm not necessarily interested, just in principle, with any more shows about characters for whom we already know their fate. I just don't care that much. Now, I think Obi-Wan, played by Ewan McGregor, is the sole exception because I love him as that character so much. I apologize. Lots of yawns this morning. But I think with all of that just still in play, it remains what I love about it still, as a tapestry here is just that it's so big and expansive. It creates this whole universe, or at least galaxy, of uh, different locations and different types of people and characters and all of that sort of thing. Plus, it has, just very cool individual elements, and it's just wonderful. And in a lot of ways, that's part of the reason that, like, in general, I don't want us to only be making these looking back TV shows about it. Like, as much as I am going to absolutely be there for Obi-Wan, for example, the idea of making a show for Cassian Andor, I liked him well enough, but we also already know what happens to him. And I just, again, I don't like the tendency that they have sometimes, which was very much on display in Rise of Skywalker's faults, which is to say we have to connect every single dot, and everyone we meet has to be related to someone else we know already. And every place we go has to be somewhere that we've been before, or some connection to somewhere we've been before. And that just, it reminds me of the brief monologue from the beginning of Cabin in the Woods, where it's like society isn't crumbling, it's binding. In any case, I'm going to leave it there. I have to get to work, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.